I shouldn't have been out there that night. But then again, who in their right mind would drive down a lonely stretch of highway at 2 a.m. unless they had to? I just finished my late shift at the diner. Empty, eerie hours that felt like they dragged on forever. And all I wanted was to get home. No one on the road, no one to talk to. Just me and the hum of the tires against the pavement. The kind of silence that makes you feel like you're the last person on earth. But that's when I noticed something. It was small at first, barely noticeable. A flicker of movement on the side of the road. At first I thought it was just a trick of the headlights. Or maybe some animal. Maybe a deer. But then I saw it again. A figure. Standing at the edge of the highway, staring into the distance. Just standing there. And as I passed, I swear, I felt it. That heavy, suffocating feeling of being watched. I shrugged it off. It's just some weirdo, I thought. No big deal. But still, that feeling stayed with me. My eyes flicked to the rearview mirror. Nothing. Just empty road stretching out behind me. I breathed a little easier. But then, just as I was about to relax, I saw something else. In the distance, far ahead, the outline of a car. Dim headlights cutting through the fog, but moving at an odd pace. It was slow. Too slow for a car on this road, especially at this time of night. I slowed down just to get a better look, but the car didn't seem to move closer. Just stayed at that same distance like it was waiting. At first I thought it was broken down, but that didn't make sense. There weren't any roadside hazards, no flashing emergency lights. And there was something strange about the way it just sat there, stationary and silent. I kept my eyes on the road ahead of me, my hands gripping the steering wheel tighter as I passed. That's when it happened. The car! No, the headlights flashed. Once, twice. My heart skipped. It wasn't a flash from the car ahead. No, it came from behind me. And that's when the dread hit me, like ice in my veins. The headlights in my rearview mirror. They were too close. I hadn't heard anything. No engine revving, no tires screeching. But they were there. A set of headlights moving right behind me. I checked the mirror again. There was nothing, just the empty road. But I could feel it, the pressure. Something was wrong. I sped up, my breath catching in my throat as I raced down the road. But the headlights stayed with me, always just behind. And no matter how fast I went, they didn't fade. They didn't go away. Panic started to claw at me. I wanted to pull over, but I didn't know what was waiting out there in the dark. So I kept driving, my foot heavy on the gas. But every few seconds I would glance in the mirror, expecting to see a car, or at least the shape of headlights. But it was always the same, a pair of lights, too close, too quiet. And then the figure, that same figure I'd seen earlier standing by the road. But this time it wasn't on the side of the highway. It was in the middle of the road, directly in front of me. I slammed the brakes, my heart racing as the car screeched to a halt. I gripped the wheel so tight my knuckles went white. I stared through the windshield, hoping it was just a figment of my imagination. But no, there it was, a man. He was tall, too tall. His skin looked wrong, almost gray in the dim light. His eyes were wide, and I swear they were black, empty. He wasn't moving, just standing there, staring at me. I couldn't breathe. My whole body went numb. I glanced at the rearview mirror, and that's when I saw it. The car, the headlights. They were there, right behind me, only they weren't headlights anymore. The car had no shape, no outline, just a black shadow moving in place of where the car should have been. And I swear I saw someone in the back seat. A face, distorted, twisted, but still staring directly at me. I turned the wheel, my hands shaking. I couldn't get the car to move fast enough. The engine roared, but the shadow behind me kept pace. I could still see those black eyes, those hollow, lifeless eyes staring from the rearview mirror. I slammed the accelerator down to the floor. And then, in the blink of an eye, it was gone. The shadow, the figure, the car, all of it vanished. The road was empty, quiet, still. I pulled into the nearest gas station, my heart hammering in my chest. My hands were trembling so badly, I could barely unbuckle my seatbelt. I ran inside, barely able to keep it together. The cashier looked at me and I tried to speak, but the words wouldn't come out. "You all right?" he asked, his voice calm. Too calm. I nodded, but I could barely look at him. When I did, my eyes flicked to the clock. It was 2:50 a.m. now, but somehow I knew I'd been driving for hours. When I finally gathered the strength to go back outside and check my car, the rearview mirror was cracked. Small, fine cracks spider-webbed across the glass, but I hadn't even noticed them before. As I sat there, still shaking, I felt a cold chill pass through me. And then, just before I started the engine to leave, I heard it. A voice, soft, low, but clear, like someone was whispering in my ear. "You shouldn't have looked back.